All righty, we're back. But do we have audio? Okay. Do we have audio? Come on. Okay. Yay, we have audio. Yippee. All righty. Hey, Dylan, how you doing tonight, man? Hey, yeehaw. Uh, we get this over to the chatter at Discord. All righty. Well, here it is Sunday. And I got a brand new recorder. I scored this brand spanking new Hohner Educator. I really like these because they got the plastic in the pipple. They're easier to keep clean. But then what? Anyway, nice new flute. Nobody got anything to say tonight? Okay, then I will. The other day it was that town hall meeting at the LGBTQ town hall meeting being held by HRC. CNN did it, but HRC was running it. It was pointed out by a number of people that evening, one in particular by the name of Blossom C. Brown, who got handed the mic by one of our local mama bears, Lisette Trujillo. If you watch the CNN HRC LGBTQ town hall, you might have seen trans activist Blossom C. Brown standing up, grabbing the mic, and protesting the lack of Black trans women asking questions at the forum. At one point, she even spoke directly to moderator and gay CNN anchor Don Lemon before directly speaking to the audience. LGBTQ Nation spoke with Brown on the phone and to ask what compelled her to unexpectedly speak out, her take on the community's complicity in erasing trans people of color from political discussions, and her challenge to the candidates to attend a town hall focused exclusively on trans issues. That's asking for a lot. There's just a few of us. You know, there's 300 and some odd million people in this country, and only 1.5 million of them are admitting to being trans. It'd be nice if the Catholics and the evangelicals weren't trying to exterminate us, though. Brown works as an actress, producer, and activist. She appeared in season 1 of the trans reality show I Am Kate, and focuses her social justice work on HIV education and improving PrEP access through her work with the Human Rights Campaign and a Los Angeles-based nonprofit. She also once discussed her experiences of anti-trans discrimination on Ellen. Brown says that when the LGBTQ town hall introduced Beto O'Rourke as the 6th candidate to take questions at the event, she felt furious because not one Black trans person had taken the mic to ask a question. Well, did anybody ask for the mic? Well, yeah, they did, but that's in a different story. We'll get to that in a minute. At the same time, she says, I was also on social media, and I saw a lot of my Black trans brothers and sisters, the hurt and the pain that they were posting about. And I saw that my sister, Ashley Marie Preston, was actually snubbed from this CNN event. Her question got snubbed, so it made her pull out from the entire thing altogether. Here's Preston's tweet about the snub. I guess it's, we aren't going to get to it that much later. I'm pulling out of the LGBTQ presidential town hall tonight. I was part of the program and CNN scrapped my participation last minute. I was going to bring attention to the terror TSA inflicts on trans and non-binary bodies while traveling. I'd rather be absent than present and silent. That was Ashley Marie Preston. Brown continues, I was thinking to myself, this is an LGBTQ space, and yet there's not room for Black trans people. Yes, we're in the room and we're there, and people are getting up and saying things about our narrative and what we go through, which we appreciate. But the problem was we were in the room and we weren't able to tell our own story. When a woman named Lisette Trujillo, a woman who has worked with the HRC and who's also the mother of a trans child, took the mic and made a comment validating the 3 trans activists from the Trans Latina Coalition, Bambi Salsina, Marina, and Miche, who protested earlier during Pete Buttigieg's segment by waving a trans flag and declaring trans lives matter, Brown decided to stand up and speak out. Trujillo handed her the mic, and Brown said, Black trans women are being killed in this country, and CNN, you have erased Black trans women for the last time. It's not fair for Black trans people to be erased from a so-called safe LGBTQ space, Brown tells LGBTQ Nation. How the gay community helps erase trans people even in an LGBTQ town hall. It's always been this way. Brown says that there were a lot of emotions running through her when she got to the mic. The only thing I was thinking about is the black trans women who are being killed this year and how the silence is real. The trans women that were murdered have the same intersectionality of being black and trans like me. A lot of those girls are from the South, and I was born and raised in Mississippi, so it hit me a lot personally. And it's so frustrating that when I see other people along the LGBTQ spectrum being so silent. She continues, that's what's devastating to me, because the thing was, when we talk about gay marriage and marriage equality, we are expected as trans people to go and support that, and we did. But when our issues are on the line, like our rights, like not being able to serve in the military, not being able to use the restroom that we most desire to, we're seeing that those same people that we supported are not supporting us. It's just really crazy to me. Some of them are throwing us under the bus. After she spoke on the mic for a bit, Lemon asked for the microphone back. He told Brown, let me tell you something. The reason that we're here is to validate people like you. That is why we're here. No, you're not, Brown tells LGBTQ Nation. 6 people have gone by. Not one black trans person has taken the mic. I'm black. I'm trans. That's what people like me look like. And that's what I find so problematic with Don. It was really disappointing to hear that from my black gay brother saying that. Although some audience members applauded Brown's speech, he says half the room remained silent, and that surprised her. I was also surprised by the fact that, again, that in the LGBTQ space, the T has to get up and protest just to be heard. We shouldn't have to fight for our issues to be heard within our own community, our own spectrum. That's something I expect hetero cis normative people to do. But when it happens within our own community, that's a problem. She hasn't been paying attention, I guess. She continues, we have a big problem within our own LGBTQ community. Before we start holding other people accountable, other people who want to take away our rights, we need to start holding our very own accountable for their actions. It was such a shame that I had to do what I had to do. That the trans flag protesters earlier had to do what they had to do just to get attention to the trans community. The T. That's why I'm wishing for a full town hall on trans issues only. I'm like, push, 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 because it's super duper important. She says she's issuing a challenge to every presidential candidate to come and hear trans issues, not just from black trans people, but from Latin, Asian, and Native American ones, including gender non-conforming, non-binary, and other people. Whatever that looks like, however you identify, you should be at this table talking about your issues to these candidates. She says Beto O'Rourke actually tweeted to her, we're going to try and make a town hall for trans women of color. And Brown says she responded, I appreciate it, but I want to see action only. So this amazingly powerful woman who is who gave me the mic last night. Her name is Lisa Trujillo, and she is really one amazing lady. And she is the mother of a transgender son. She's the real unspoken she-ra last night, or she-ro. She's a member of HRC, Parents for Transgender Equality Council. Thank you for that moment. I guess this is, if we do get this town hall, we'll show who really supports the trans community and who doesn't. Like, I had plenty of faith in Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, and now Beto O'Rourke. But I want to know, will some of these other candidates show up and really show their same support for us, or are you just there to be a prop for us? Speaking of the trans community's influence, Brown says, our voices matter too. We sit on the shoulders of Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera. Our ancestors were the first ones who threw that brick at Stonewall. We have the power, we have access, but because of the isms such as racism, sexism, classism, of course, white privilege gets put to the top. Let's not forget ableism and ageism. So of course, gay, white, cis men will get all the rewards, and then whatever's left over will go to trans people like me. It's like that in the health field. It's like that being a teacher, being a lawyer. That's just how society is. White supremacy is very, very real, and it makes a lot of us complicit to it. But, I always say that we have the power, we do belong, and you know what? We have to fight for them, fight them for our place at the table. We deserve it. I think it went great, she tells LGBTQ Nation. I feel like I made a powerful moment. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about the fame, the lights, the camera, the action. I had to take that moment to shine a light to the nation of a serious issue that was going on in our community. It's a state of emergency for Black trans women, and I really needed to bring light to that. Again, I didn't come in here expecting to do that. I didn't want to take anybody's moment. I didn't want to take your moment, but I needed to say this. And there's a little more that needs to be said with it. Still nobody's saying nothing, huh? Okay. And here's what needs to be said with it. This was an open letter to the HRC from trans community leaders. As transgender and non-binary leaders of prominent advocacy, grassroots, national, regional, legal, and leadership development organizations across the United States, we are troubled by Human Rights Campaign's announcement of its new trans-centered framework, which we first learned about on out.com. Trans people, and primarily Black trans leaders and trans leaders of color, have been leading the work for trans liberation since long before HRC existed. As new HRC President Alfonso David acknowledged our work in recent decades has more often been opposed and undermined by HRC rather than supported. We believe that organizations can change and that there could be a role for HRC in the fight for trans liberation. But we were surprised to read that David believes HRC's role is to come up with solutions and stand on the front line to provide meaningful solutions for the transgender community. Our lives are the front lines. We have the solutions, and after many years of holding institutions like HRC accountable, we finally have won some infrastructure, while still far too limited resources to support our movement for trans liberation in the United States. We need more funding. We need more power. We need to be trusted to lead with our own solutions to the oppression that threatens our lives. We don't need a cisgender-led $40 million organization to copy our work and brand it as new. The trans leaders signing this statement work day in and day out to build and strategize toward what liberation may look like for all of us. And HRC should not claim to lead this for us. Trans disability justice and HIV/AIDS leaders will have said it best: nothing about us without us. Yeah, right. If we're in a room, we got to be able to speak. Many of us are Black trans leaders and trans leaders of color, and we're excited by David's appointment as the first Black president of HRC. Racism, anti-Blackness, and transphobia together work to undo our movements and threaten our lives and visions for liberation. We remain hopeful for David's leadership and recognize that he alone cannot resolve the organization's full legacy of transphobia, racism, and its compounding effects in 2 months on the job. But if HRC is truly committed to trans liberation, the organization's leadership must start with repairing, healing, and listening. They must start by addressing past harm, building genuine relationships, and demonstrating support for our leadership. They must bolster our work, not take credit for it. We invite a conversation with Alfonso David and other HRC leadership. We would welcome HRC's support, but we will not accept their co-optation of our movement. It's missing a few. I don't see Debbie Jackson in there. Of course, she's cis, but she's the mother. And I don't see Michael Woodward in there. Nobody from Saga. What Hong Kong? Oh, Hong Kong. All the protests. I haven't been paying any attention to it. Yeah, it's a big cup. That's my Bubba cup. Cheers. It's Arizona. You got to drink a lot. Hong Kong stuff. I'm not even sure why they're pissed off. I mean, I've been paying that little attention to it. Let's take a look at Hong Kong. I saw the still from a video of some guy that was getting busted, and somebody else come up, throw a flying kick on the cop, busted the guy loose. Well, there have been 8 deaths, but they've all killed themselves. This is anti-extradition law amendment bill. An ongoing series of demonstrations in Hong Kong which began with the aim to impose the introduction of the Fugitive Offenders Amendment Bill proposed by the, I don't know what that, what is it? So they're pissed off about if enacted, the bill will allow local authorities to detain and extradite criminal fugitives who are wanted in territories with which Hong Kong does not currently have extradition agreements, including Taiwan and mainland China. People are concerned that the bill would subject Hong Kong residents and visitors to mainland Chinese jurisdiction, undermining the autonomy of the region and its civil liberties. 5 key demands: investigation into alleged police conduct, resumption of democratic reforms, which are promised in the basic law but have stagnated since the 2014 umbrella revolution. Chinese central government has described the protests as the worst crisis in Hong Kong since the takeover in 1997. I don't understand. Maybe you gotta read on it, man. Okay. So I don't get it. There was something else interesting that I saw today. I forgot what it was. Cat hair is both a condiment and a kitchen fashion accessory. From one of my cat lady friends. I miss my dogs, but I don't miss the dog hair. It's all over everything. Autistic child starts to speak after 2 days of CBD oil treatment. Do we trust this site? Well, it's not secure. Express opinion. Blah, blah, fair use, blah, 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 blah. Well, they claim he started talking after they dosed him with CBD oil. How nice. Jane Fonda arrested for protesting climate change at the Capitol after citing Greta Thunberg as her inspiration. She they let her off in handcuffs. She says she's going to do it every Friday. I don't eat pork, but I'd eat a Republican in a heartbeat. Okay. This is a National Geographic story about pigs recorded using tools for the first time. And the person who shared it, people eat pigs, but eating Republicans is somehow off limits. Yeah, Columbus, tomorrow's Indigenous Peoples Day. I do believe that Tucson has officially changed the name from Columbus Day years ago. People who read a lot of books are way nicer, kinder, and empathetic. Okay. Ooh. An anti-fascist in Portland, that's a nasty town, was killed in a hit and run. Sean Kelleher, 23, was hit by an SUV outside Cider Riot, a club in Northeast Portland known for being a popular gathering spot for leftist protesters. A prominent anti-fascist activist was killed in Portland Saturday early morning, according to the police. He was in the club earlier that evening. His friends drove him to the hospital after getting hit, but he died there. The vehicle was shot at by unknown people after it hit Kelleher, which then crashed into the headquarters of the Oregon Democratic Party. Police are investigating the hit and run, which they are treating as homicide. No arrests have been made yet. The Rose City Antifa said that Kelleher's death was not related to fascist activity. Kelleher was a prominent anti-Trump activist and often participating in protests against right-wing groups. He was targeted by right-wing people often on social media. Portland's Mayor Ted Wheeler and the Oregon Democratic Party expressed condolences. That was nice of them. Cider riot at the Popular Bar was the site of a brawl in May between far-right group Patriot Prayer and leftist activists. Club owner filed a U.S. $1 million lawsuit against 6 men, including Patriot Prayer leader Joey Gibson. They are currently awaiting trial. How nice. We have nothing to say tonight? Oh, I sit here and talk all night. You know, someone want to chit chat. Because, you know, it's Sunday night. There's nothing here interesting. Oh, nice. And they're probably not going to do anything to the fucker either. Prominent Israeli settler runs over a 16-year-old girl and then shoots her. Wanted to make sure she was dead. Oh, well, this is only 3 years old, Mama. That's not fresh news. We're not going to mess with that. Okay, the affirmation for the full moon. Tonight, I release old energy, fears, harmful thoughts, toxic patterns, negative attachments, outdated beliefs, and anything out of alignment. I am ready for transformation and welcome this shift in energy. I am clearing space for a new chapter, filled with amazing opportunities, deep soul connections, and abundance and magnificent blessings. You're right. Donald Trump is what happens when you don't discipline a toddler until he's 73 years old. Oh, and they're rioting in Ecuador. What's this about? Fuel price hikes. And keto. Eventually, it's going to be our turn. Oh my goodness. Holy shit. I'm just going to put the link to this. This is just outrageous. Amazing aquamarines in this picture. I just dug it out of the ground. $8 million stone. Eight police officers held captive by indigenous protesters in Ecuador. What's going on there? Well, not much going on. And nobody's interacting, so I'm out of here. Thanks for coming. Happy day. Bye.